What is this in my garden? Seems like a piece of blackwood, but in the flowers? It's not mine. In fact, it doesn't belong here. Maybe it has fallen. But from where? The sky? It doesn't make sense. Maybe I just have to take a closer look. It seems to have something happening on the inside. Wait, not the inside, in the top of it. This seems like a very little tablet made of wood? But how is that possible? I have to watch this. Module 3 Climate Revolution by Vega. The climate revolution is one of the most important revolutions in our history. The 21st century was when everything changed. Climate revolution can be divided in 5 different stages: acknowledgement, small measures, energy decarbonization, carbon capture, and finally, people's mind. The first stage began in the end of the 20th century, when extreme weather events got more frequent and intense. The summers got hotter and the winters colder. In some places, the floods became more frequent, and in others, the droughts were the main problem. This drew the attention of many scientists that started to analyze temperature evolution. This was the actual beginning of the revolution, when the prediction of future problems connected to our atmosphere started. After this acknowledgement, some small measures were implemented. Scientists understood that the major problem were the emission of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. One of the most important projects was the use of low-carbon energy by updating the energy sources to renewable and clean ones, and by using energy more efficiently. Another measure was the use of low-consumption vehicles. The first electric cars appeared on the market. Also in this period, carbon taxes were introduced as a way of making people use progressively less carbon dioxide. Meanwhile, extreme weather events became more frequent and important to the population in general, and the medium level of the ocean continued to rise in a way no one could imagine. The third stage was centered on the decarbonization of the energies. There was an appearance of more renewable energies. The wind energy was scattered all over the planet, oceans included. The photovoltaic energy became cheaper and went worldwide, even in the deserts. And there was the beginning of the installation of the ocean energy. The environmental and carbon taxes started to revert to the process of decarbonization. With these changes, the use of electric transports became more usual and essential. Also, the scientific part continued to mobilize efforts as the scientists started to study more early the carbon cycle and the atmosphere dynamics. But the extreme weather events got even more radical, forcing people to leave everything behind and go to a place with a better climate, the climate migrants. But the climate pattern continued to change, and there was an increase of storms all over the world. The temperature continued to rise, making some places completely inhabitable. But the stop of emissions of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere wasn't enough, because the problem continued to exist. It didn't get worse, but it didn't get any better either. So the carbon capture phase started. The most common and green way of capturing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere is using the plants, that by the photosynthesis consume carbon dioxide and release oxygen. So one of the methods was as simple as growing as much plants as possible. The planting was also extended to the ocean, where some macro and microalgae were grown. The plastic started to be avoided, and the use of wood in a noble and lasting way increased exponentially. There was developed an artificial way to capture natural and unavoidable carbon emissions. The balloons and the zeppelins started to circulate, and the planes became a secondary way of transport, not for being slower, but for being far more polluting. Also in this stage, the scientists understood the weather dynamics and started to prevent extreme events. A glass of water can be enough to erase one of the most destroying fires ever seen. People only have to understand when and where it begins. Now this started to be done with the weather. A turbine with a cold or hot source could be used to prevent or deflect a hurricane that could have a catastrophic ending for endless. This last stage was the most important of all 5. The people's mind is something that cannot be changed from a day to another. It takes time, but if it doesn't change, nothing can improve. In the end, people understood that everyone had to contribute for a better future. People started using less plastic materials, even if it was the cheapest, and more long-lasting goods, valorizing the natural-grown goods. In this way, high carbon fuel and plastic production ended because no one bought them. The campaign "Plant a tree for each day of your life" was the most important one. It gained a very large number of participants and supporters, and until our current days, more than 80% of our population is really helping our world to improve. With the increase of work in the countryside, the life there was given more value and more rewards. Finally, temperature and climate were under control, as well as the carbon dioxide emissions. With all these measures, our planet became a greener planet, where we can live our everyday life, safe from the climate radical changes and dangers. Today we live in a planet that went through very rough times, but could always take the best advantage of them. We can understand that the real key ingredient to victory against anything, even against our own planet, is the working team. Everyone with the same objective, in this case, making our world greener. And we can say we did it. We are now a better and greener planet. Wow! We must share this all over the world!